Hello and welcome back to another episode of Rusty JDM. Working on my 1993 R32 GTR. So in my previous video I went through all the process of how removing the engine and the transmission from the car. The plan was having both engine on stands, but since I've got the engine here sitting on the this big pallet or box, I thought might as well just leave it there and then just put the other engine on the stand. So in today's video I am going to pretty much remove everything out of this engine and putting on the other engine. Plus I have cleaned around the engine and painted just a little bit of paint around the block because I had a bit of surface rust here and there. So the plan, like I said, removing everything from here with all the new gasket and seals into that one, and once everything is done I'm gonna clean the car and then start putting the engine back. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so I kept the video recording. I didn't say anything. The stuff that I've done on the car or on the engine was I removed everything out of the old engine. They've been cleaned and put back into this engine. Pretty much 99% of this engine is done, except I would say 80%, except the cam for the exhaust side, which I need to get the one out of the other engine and put it back in this engine. So the cams they have the same profile, the heads are the same, except the cam for the exhaust side, they have different sprocket through here, the teeth that holds the cast or spins the cast. So I'm gonna get that one off and put it in this engine. And the other thing is the sump, I haven't done that. So this engine is on, like I said, cam sump needs to be replaced, so I'm gonna put that on the side. But my focus now on this one here, so I need to remove that, clean the axle, and then replace the sump, and then put the new engine back there. The transmission is out, so I had to remove the front drive shaft, the left hand side CV shaft, and the right hand side CV shaft slides in. So I'm going to see if I can remove it by lifting the engine and pushing left, or taking it off through the front hub. Now when I took the transmission out, I noticed I have the Nismo flywheel and a Nismo clutch. Obviously I am going to use the flywheel but not the clutch, because I've got a new clutch. But I have a feeling I need to machine this, so I'm going to take it to the machine shop and let them see what they think. It doesn't look too bad. I can't feel anything. Actually, I can feel it a little bit here, just where the black line is. Anyway, they know more than I know, so let's take the engine off. Alright guys, so the engine is out. I just had to remove the engine man to free the engine from both ends, and lifted the engine. Now getting the axle off, it was one of the easiest job ever. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a big job. Just had to use 2 screwdrivers, and there's a lip here, or you can use the other one, and then push the CV shaft out this way, and it obviously popped out. Now there's one thing I would like to mention is, as you can see here, this line is being repaired, and same as this end and right here as well. Now when I imported the car back in 2016, it had leak from everywhere, and replacing this line is impossible because the engine is sitting right on top of it. So I did buy 2 lines. They come in 2 lines now. I do recommend you, if you had your engine out for any reason, replace this line, because they are very old, the rubber is brutal, and having the engine out, look, it's the best opportunity to replace them, so I do recommend do that. Now the next thing will be, like I said, replacing the sump, clean the axle, obviously changing those lines, put this back, and I can't wait for the engine to go back in the car. Alright guys, so the sump is loose, it's about to come off, and obviously I have to put the engine on the ground when I take this one off, the sump. And before putting that on the ground, I have to put that sump on it, just to cover it. Now the sump is loose, like I said, it's heavy to carry it from this angle. I'm gonna drop it on the ground and then take the sump off, obviously put the other one on, and just sort it on the side for now. So let's do it. there's a difference between two sumps, one with 60,000, one with 180,000. A lot of build-up carbon here. Got a lot of work to do with cleaning this. Now that baffle will be replaced with Tomei before putting that on the engine, and obviously that will go on the old engine. Now the car was on the ground when I drained the oil, and you see I've got around half a liter sitting right there. Anyway, it is what it is. Alright, let's clean this and put that on the engine. Alright, we're getting to the stages where I have to start putting everything back into the subframe and engine, and so they can go in the car. Now the subframe is being cleaned, and before obviously putting the engine back on the subframe, I need to replace this line here, which it's been modified from this angle and the other side. Alright, so let's do it. Alrighty, I have installed the lines. I'm actually missing one more line here, that's actually the main one that's busted through here. So there's 3 lines here. 2 of them were purchased. I missed the 3rd one, which I thought they all come together. Anyway, so the next step will be putting the sump, which was already cleaned. So I have to install this back on the engine. The sump has been modified with Tomei baffle. It's somewhere on my channel, you can watch that. So yeah, let's do it. Alright guys, so the sump is in. Now the other thing that I noticed, which is different with the with the R32 engine, was the fitting that goes from here into the heater hose. Now the one that is off the R34, they've got a bigger diameter. I think it's very similar with the 33 GTR. The one for the 32 GTR, that's a part number if you're wondering. And that's how it looks. So it's a bit smaller. So I'm going to install this before putting my clutch and the pressure plate and the flywheel and whatever goes there. So let's do it. Okay, so the fitting is in. You just have to remove every hose you see around it, otherwise you can't get it through. And I believe you also have to bend it just a little bit. Alright, so the fitting is, it's hard to see, but the fitting is in. So it has 2 pipes. I had to bend the other pipe because when you rotate it, it will touch the manifold. There's a coolant line goes through the manifold, so it touches that line. I just had to bend it a bit so it rotate easier. So that's done. The pilot bearing is on as well. It was easy getting that off. So the oil cooler that sits where the oil filter is, the washers or the seals, they've been replaced for that one as well. This is something I like to do because it would be easier doing it now rather than if they fail later. So that's something I like to do, which it's done now. Now, just going through the RB26 out of the 34, and I'm guessing it's very similar with the 33 as well, except probably the cams and the diff. But I want to say that I have found a few differences in the 32 and the 34. and I'm just gonna cover those right now, which is this coolant and the vacuum lines. They're exactly the same, but then you get another line attached to it here, and it goes all the way to the side, which is right here. So if you want to use the 34 ones, you have to have the whole thing, because you cannot bolt this into the 34 ones. The reason is because this bracket here, it's welded in a different angle, so you have to use the same line that comes out of the 34, both of them. So 32, 34, that was the different ones. Obviously the fitting that I replaced for the 34 and the 33 is very different as well. The hose is a bit thicker this end. The other thing is, which is the diff ratio. You guys know about this, and something that I found out that, and this is the reason why I haven't done the timing belt, and it's because I have to replace the cams. So obviously the head that goes on all the RB26, they have the same part number, and then you get the cams, they've got different part number as well. They do have the same profile but different part numbers, and the reason is because you get different casts here. This one is the same profile, you can probably use that with this setup, but for some reason they do have different part number, and I am guessing it's because it was manufactured later on. So cams, obviously the diff, I have a feeling the balancer at the front, that's a bit different. The fitting, the coolant, and the vacuum line, and what else? I know the injectors are different, a few other bits and pieces, and they're different as well, but I'm talking about the long block, however I got the this engine. So that's about it for now. Alright guys, so the sump is in, it's been torqued down, alternator is in. I haven't put the aircon compressor as the wirings need to be fixed, so I'm gonna leave that for the side. Now before putting the transmission in, also I have to put the flywheel and the clutch, which stays sitting just right there. The flywheel has been machined as well, so it's all good. The only thing is with the transmission, I have to install all the rubbers that I have ordered. So for the shifter, the rubber that goes around the fork, and the rubbers that go on the top. So just gonna do it right now, and then obviously I'm gonna mate the engine with the transmission, and I have to wait for the line, the power steering line to arrive, so I can put the engine on the axle. Alright guys, so it's been around 5 days. Pretty much all my work has been paused because of this line which just arrived yesterday. So the engine is ready right there, the transmission is ready, but I can't put the engine on the axle because the line has to be replaced. Now, like I said, it's been a delay with the deliveries, which I'm sure you guys have been there. It's a bit frustrating, but it is what it is. So alright, so let's do it. Alright guys, so the line is being replaced. It is a bit different with the older line. So the position for the sensor in the new line, it's facing forward, but the other one, the old one, the sensor is sitting somewhere right there facing up. But it's all there. So 3 of the lines being replaced. Which one of them goes to the rack, which is from the, I think it's the return line. If I'm not mistaken, no, actually this is the return line. So it's the feed line, which is go all the way here, goes from under the sump or the engine, and then that's the actual line here, which feeds from the pump. And then you get this one as well, comes from the pump as well. It goes all the way and it stops here. And I don't know what you call the system, but it sits here, which is, it's like a splitter that it splits all the power steering line. So that feed that system there, and this line obviously goes to the rack, and then you get this one here, which is the darker color or a green color, that also goes from this end to that end. So all of them have been replaced, and now I'm ready to drop the engine in. The engine is on the crane. I'm just going to do a final inspection in case I have missed something. So far, obviously the air compressor is not there, but that's not a big deal. I can do that. So yeah, gonna do the final inspection and then put that on the axle. So let's do it. All right, exciting time. So the engine is finally in. Now, just a few notes in regards to putting the engine on the axle, and it helps you a lot, trust me. You probably know them, but I just didn't know those, and I thought it's a good key to know, or helps you to put the engine easier. Now, number one, the mounts. Now, I have left this mount on the block, which is the one that's under the turbo side. It's because it's very hard to get to the bolts because they are right under the turbo, and putting that later, especially right here with no space, it makes it a nightmare. So have that in before you do anything else, and then you can put your turbo after. So that one in. The one on the other side, obviously you can see the bolts there. It's very easy to get them on and off. I had that off, the other one was in. The reason I had this off is because I had enough leverage to play with the engine left and right till I can get it on the axle, and it was fine after that. Now the air compressor is in. I haven't fixed the wiring, which is somewhere there, right here, so I can fix those later. The next thing is the axles. Now, sorry, not the axle, the CV shaft. Yeah. So the CV shafts are actually, there is 2 marks both ends. It's really hard to see, but you can see there's a shiny part right there on the CV shaft. So they put a mark both ends on the diff side and on the CV shaft side. So I think that's how they should line up. So that's another thing. Now the last thing is the flywheel. So the flywheel has been machined. I end up using the same flywheel. It's Nismo, why not? So that flywheel is in. The new bearing is in. It's been greased as well. The pilot bearing is been replaced as well, so that's good too. But the clutch here now, took the clutch to the machine shop. They recommended anything above 9 mil should do the job, and sorry, anything above 8 mil should do the job, and honestly both of them were 9 mil, the new one and the old one. The old one is Nismo, the new one is XCD, and it gets sold by NPC, and they are rated to 300 kilowatts. I am going to use the one that came off the car. I have a feeling it hasn't been used a lot. It's by Nismo. They get sold with the flywheel, so again they do get balanced together. So I'm gonna use this, can put that as a spare, and yeah, so just gonna mate the engine and the transmission together, and again another exciting time. So let's do that. So everything is being wiped down with brake cleaner. There you go. Alrighty, so the transmission is in. I haven't put all the bolts in yet. I just had to put the top ones for now, just to hold the transmission in. Now, just a note that when you put your transmission into the or you mate it to your engine, make sure you level the transmission correctly, because if it's a bit higher or lower, you will end up damaging your main seal, and that happened to me in the past. So I had to use just a few things under the transmission to get the level right, and you saw that it went in perfectly. Now the engine is going to be in the car in the next episode, because I have a feeling this episode is going to be a long one. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.